My guest today is Ashley Hatch. Ashley's entering her 10th season in the NWSL, having played for the Washington Spirit since 2018. She's previously won both Rookie of the Year and in 2021, the Golden Boot Award. Ashley joins me today to talk about her work with the NWSL Players Association, including the financial aspects of the most recent collective bargaining agreement. She talks about preparing financially to welcome a child into her family. And she shares her perspective on preparing for work after her playing career ends, specifically for people who are interested in starting their own business. This is my conversation with Ashley Hatch. Ashley, thank you so much for being here. I'm grateful to all of my guests for coming on the podcast, but you get bonus points for doing so with a 2-month-old. So I'm really grateful for your time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks for having me.
I want to start. You've talked publicly in the past about the side jobs that you had to take early in your career to help make ends meet, which was true of a lot of players who played in the league in the same time frame as you. But you kind of took things a step further by getting involved with the NWSL Players Association. Will you talk a little bit about what inspired you to go that route?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I had the honor of having Tori Huster as one of my teammates for many years, and with her involvement in the PA, I got to see like firsthand the difference that like she was making and that the Players Association was making. And so when it came time when there was a vacancy for a player rep for the Spirit, I kind of just like talked to her about it, and I was like, I'm interested, but I also don't feel like qualified for this role because I don't know a lot. And she was kind of like very encouraging. She's like, no, like we need people who are just eager to learn and want to help represent the players. I don't think I fully understood the gravity and the capacity of like the role and that what it would play, like not only in my career but in like every soccer player's career,
Sure.
because it was still kind of early on in the development of the PA. And so I feel like I've learned a lot like just by like being thrown into the role and like learning from others, learning from Tori, like being a part of meetings and being part of like the collective bargaining agreement and all that kind of stuff. So I've really like grown into the role, and I've really learned to just appreciate all the players that came before me and who kind of pushed for a lot of changes and a lot of growth. And so I'm excited to kind of fill that role and continue to like push for that for players. So that's, I would say Tori is a main reason why I entered the PA.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a financial standpoint, what what surprised you, especially early on with your role in the PA, and what questions or challenges did you bring to it from your own experience and your own perspective?
I mean, I feel like when I first joined the Players Association, it was still pretty early. There's obviously things that we like our bucket list items and things we wanted for players, like free agency. That was a huge one. I know that was like always a part of our conversations, mostly so players could have the freedom to choose where they want to live, and that also impacts, like quality of living, like financially, like different markets obviously cost differently to live in different markets.
Hmm.
Then you have like the housing situation. I lived with a host family for 3 years, the first 3 years of my career with the Spirit. My first year, my rookie year, I was in a shared apartment, which is really nice. But then I came to DC, market's a lot more expensive. I got to choose from either like a $200 stipend to find housing or get housing for free to live with a host family. So those are kind of like things that we talked about, like how can we improve this quality of living for players? How can we create an environment where they can like live in their own apartment? And what about players who are married or players who have children? Like there's so many factors and things to be thinking about. And I feel like all of those directly kind of impact players, like financial situations. Like we're making decisions on where to live based off of, you know, like can we afford to live here? Can we not? Stuff
Right.
like that. So early on, those are a lot of the conversations. And then each year, kind of like just wanting more, asking for more, bargaining for more, and kind of continuing to grow. Obviously, we still have more room for growth. But those are a few things that we kind of started with.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about the most recent CBA and your experience with that. Financially, aside from just an increase in player salaries, what do you feel like were the biggest financial wins in that most recent agreement, and what would you be excited to add in the years to come?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like free agency was huge. Taking away the draft was huge, mostly because from an outsider's perspective, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, the draft was so fun," but I think a lot of people forget the impact that it has on players' lives, like especially going from college where you're a full-time student athlete, like you don't have, I mean, they can make money now, but
Right.
um, not probably as much as they would like or need, depending on the market that they get drafted to. So I feel like being able to see the freedom that players have to choose where they start their career has been huge. Some players want to stay close to home. Some players don't. Some players want to play for a certain coach or a certain team that has a certain style of play. So, like, if you set players up for success early on in their career, the longevity of their career is going to be a lot longer. They're going to be a lot happier. They're going to perform well. Like, all of these things have a direct impact on their quality of life. And so I think getting rid of that was huge. I think players being able to choose if they want to get traded or not, consenting to a trade, that's also huge. There's things obviously that we really pushed for that didn't happen. Like were able to raise the salary cap, but not nearly where we would have wanted it.
Hmm.
The housing situation is still um, like the league wants to get rid of like taking care of players' housing, but we were like, hey, then you have to pay us more. So we kind of had to figure out this really complex formula and like phasing out housing. So we're kind of like in the middle of that process of like educating players on how to like get the best situation for themselves when they're negotiating their contract when it comes to housing. That's an area that like if we could just raise the cap or if players could just be making more, then I feel like it would take care of the housing situation. So those are some areas of growth that I'm really excited about. And then obviously like the answer that we all want is just raise the cap. But
Yeah.
those are some things that were really exciting. And then of course we also um, for mothers, and that's really prevalent in my life right now. The
Yep.
support that mothers get in the league is really cool, and I think it's cool to see a lot more mothers in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. How much financial education do you feel like you've received as part of being involved in the CBA negotiations and just being, a representative to NWSLPA in general? Do you feel like your housing finance and your childcare finances and all those different big life questions have been helped by this experience?
Yeah, I think 100%, mostly just because I understand, like, being in the negotiations was a huge learning experience for me. Like, I was just like learning how things work and learning like what this means in the CBA. It's hard to advocate for yourself when you don't know what you have the right to.
Sure.
And so I think it was a huge learning experience. And I think it's also helped to be a player rep because when players on my team have questions, I either know the answer or I have to go find the answer.
Hmm.
And so like throughout that process, I learn a lot. But yeah, I would say it's helped a lot for me to just be a part of all these conversations.
Okay. How have your thoughts about money and your perspective on money changed over the course of your career? Um, Not only as you've gotten older, but also as the league has changed in many ways. Is your perspective on finances different?
Yes, I would say like from where I started my rookie career, my rookie season to like where I am now, like I've been blessed to like have a better career where I can continue to like negotiate like higher contracts so I can actually have like a livable wage. I feel like starting out my rookie year, I think the minimum salary was $15,000 and we only got paid for the 6 months out of the year that we actually like worked.
Hmm.
So I was kind of, I mean, this still is naturally kind of my mindset is like I'm just like a saver. Like I get it and I like just put it away. I don't look at it, don't touch it. Um, and my husband still kind of like jokes with me because like back in the day we used to get like cash for per diem for our trips,
Right.
and I wouldn't spend it. I would just like stash it away. So like for the first like 3 or so years of our marriage, like we just find random envelopes of cash everywhere, like in like a binder or like here and there, like in a backpack. And he's like, "Where's this cash coming from?"
You were literally doing the under the mattress saving philosophy, huh?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I feel like my husband he has a very different perspective. He's more of like, okay, like let's invest to make more. So I feel like mostly like marrying him and like growing throughout my career, I've been able to see the benefit of like investing and choosing where to invest and when to save and all that kind of stuff. And then also just being able to have a better contract where you can actually do that. I think for the first half of my career, like I didn't really have enough to actually even think about investing in things. So it was just like, let's just save, 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 save. And
Yeah.
that's kind of like how I made all my decisions. But now with my husband and the like career that we have together and the things that we're trying to build, like my perspective has changed. I still lean more on let's be conservative and save, and he
Right.
leans more on no, you need to invest more. So we usually meet in the middle, but I feel like it's a good balance.
How have teammates influenced your thoughts around money? Is it common? Has it been common for you to have conversations with teammates about how they're, juggling the same types of circumstances that you're in?
I mean, I don't feel like we've had like sit down, like talk about our finances, but I think like just life choices and like choosing like what to spend, what not to spend, choosing how to spend your time, whether that's like with a side hustle, like coaching kids, doing appearances, like trying to like make extra income where you can. Um, and then there's just like some players who are fortunate enough to still have their parents' credit card, and they're like, woo.
Right.
So it kind of just like everyone's situation is very different and everyone comes into the league in a different spot. So I think yeah, just simple like lifestyle choices is kind of how those things have been communicated. Like, oh, I can afford that, I can't afford that, let's go to this, I can't, kind of like stuff like that. But yeah, that's most of the conversations I feel like that we have around finances.
Okay. As you've become one of, the veterans in the league, have you thought at all more frequently about what your financial future looks like beyond the playing field?
Yeah, I think about it all the time. Mostly just because I'm trying to think of ways that I can kind of set myself up for after my career, like while I'm still in my career. I think early on in my career, the messaging was kind of like, don't focus on anything else but your career. Like, you're a soccer player, just play soccer and then think about it after.
Hmm.
But as I mean, I've been playing for 10 years now, as I've like learned more about myself and like what I'm capable of, that's not going to interfere with my career because that is always like number one, first, foremost, like my main focus because that is my job. That's actually bringing in money. Um, I've realized like, oh, I actually do have the capacity to like volunteer time or to work on my own career, like work on my own business or do a podcast or whatever. So I feel like doing those things has helped me kind of like, okay, what can I like start to build that will help me after my career? And I've actually like really enjoyed it, and I feel like it's been very fulfilling and has added to my career instead of taken away, which was kind of the messaging early on in my
Yeah.
career.
This seems like a good segue into the Ashley Hatch Soccer School. Can you tell me what you've been working on and how that kind of aligns with this same idea of, preparing yourself for when you're no longer playing?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been like, I just love soccer. I love coaching. I love doing soccer camps. I've been doing summer soccer camps since I was like 14 to just earn money to go to like college soccer camps and stuff like that. I feel like that's just kind of how I grew up. It's like very entrepreneurial and like how can I continue to just like create something and build something for myself. My husband's the same way. So every summer or anytime there's a break, we try and do a soccer camp in either like DC, Arizona, or Utah, which is where I'm from and where he's from.
Hmm.
And we really enjoy them, and we always get like lots of positive feedback from parents that are like, we love these camps, we wish you could do them more. Like the soccer is great, but like the interaction with you, like our daughters, like it really kind of boosts their confidence, and we see like a light in their eyes, and they like it kind of just gives them a boost. A lot of them, youth soccer is so up and down. And so my husband and I kind of for a long time have been kind of thinking like, how can we do more of this? We'll always do soccer camps, but like throughout my career, like I can't be doing soccer camps every weekend. Like it's a lot of work, time,
Yeah.
effort, energy. Like I'm a soccer player first and foremost. And so we kind of created this soccer school. It's like an online community, and it's we essentially what we do is we support players, youth players, and their parents in their soccer journey by kind of like empowering them to make decisions for themselves and have all the tools they need to succeed. So we have mental performance workshops every month. We have a Q&A every month with either me or a special guest, like a teammate or an expert in their field. Like we've had a nutritionist, we've had college soccer coaches, we've had college players who've come and talked about their recruiting process. And then we also have like, it's our online community. We have the different spaces. So we have like a nutrition space. We have a film room space where I'll break down like film and kind of give them pointers on like feedback on film that I'm playing in or that some of my teammates are playing in. And then we have like technical, tactical stuff. So I'll make little courses on like how to improve your weak foot. But what's really cool is like it's a community. So it's a live, like I'm chatting, interacting with players and their parents if they have a question. A lot of questions like stem around like confidence or how do I play against players that are bigger than me, faster
Right.
than me, stronger than me? So yeah, I get to interact with everyone inside the community on a more like one-on-one basis, which is really fun. And it's just a way for me to continue to like work with the youth while I'm still playing. And we're hoping to continue to build it and like bring other professional players in, not only so they can impact the community, but they can also have some sort of like income as well while they're playing. I think a lot of players want to do stuff like this, but they don't have the capacity, they don't have like the resources. And I'm really fortunate that my husband is like full time with me on this. And so he helps me build everything. And yeah, so that's something that we're building now that will hopefully continue to build and be there for when I'm done actually playing.
Does this, in your mind, does this ease the transition in some way, both like financially and mentally, into a post playing career life? Because you feel like you have something that you can turn to.
Yeah, I think it definitely does. I think there's lots of like options out there, but there are options that you can't really explore until you're actually done.
Sure.
Which is like actual coaching or broadcasting or whatever career that you kind of want to go into. I want to stay in the game because I love the game so much. But yeah, to have something that I own, that I'm in charge of and responsible for, like we're not a profitable business yet, but knowing that that's the direction that we want to go, it definitely gives me, yeah, that kind of like piece of like, okay, if soccer were to end sooner than I would have hoped, like I can put more of my time and energy into this.
Right. If you could go back to early in your career and do anything differently with your finances, do you have any regrets or choices that would look different?
Um, Not, I don't think any like specific regrets when it comes to like actual finances and choosing like what I do and do not do with my money, but I think I would have started like obviously it's hindsight now, but this perspective of like I can build something now. I think there's so many years that went by where I didn't build like start building. I kind of pushed these like extra side hobbies or hustles to the side
Yeah.
because I was so focused on soccer, which is not a bad thing. But I think having this perspective of like, no, like I can actually build something now while I'm playing. I wish that I would have had that mindset a little bit sooner. Um, But yeah, I would say that's my only regret if I did have one.
Do you feel like that messaging has changed for players overall, that it's okay and it may not take away from your game to work on some of these things, or do you feel like that message still needs to be broadcast a little bit more widely and more frequently?
I think it's definitely shifted and it's definitely changed, especially with the college game and like NIL deals and
Hmm.
it kind of being more socially acceptable for players to be thinking about their personal brands and thinking about how they can monetize on certain things. I think that a lot of players are still, especially players that have been playing for a while, are it's like hard and it's kind of scary because you want to like focus all your time and energy on your career. But if you can get that like kind of mindset shift and like find a way for it to not only it can add to your career. And I think that's still kind of like in that's still an area of growth for players. I think players continue like still need that support. I think players that are coming from college are probably more set up for that now than like players from my generation.
Sure.
Mostly because it wasn't as socially acceptable and it wasn't something that we were exposed to as early on. So I think there's ebbs and flows. Some players feel more comfortable with it, some players don't. So I think, yeah, it's still an area of growth for a lot of players.
Would it be fair to say that there are financial concerns that may weigh on some players, that if they were to pursue more of these projects, that even if it's taking a little bit more of their time, it also may be alleviating some of that financial anxiety? Do you feel like that dynamic exists?
You're saying that it would alleviate some of that financial anxiety if they
Right,
were
right.
making something from it.
Yeah, or at least had a path forward to
Yeah,
earning more
I
off the
think
field.
so. Yeah, for sure. I mean, even with when it comes to like player appearances, if you know you're getting paid for that appearance, like it's worth your time. But if you're not getting paid for that appearance, then it feels like a time suck.
Sure.
Um, but I think also a lot of players are nervous or don't want to invest in another side hustle because it also could be like a financial burden because like you have to invest, right? If you want, like I did my podcast, like I had to invest for like someone to help me edit it because I didn't have the time to sit there and edit my
Hmm.
podcasts and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there is some investment that you have to make depending on the route and the path that you want to go. um so I think that's also scary for some players because you don't know if it will be successful or what it will
Right.
turn into. I feel like that's kind of been like my path is there's a lot of investment. I don't know like what this or that is going to turn into, but I've also like gained a lot of like knowledge and experience through those processes. So it kind of just depends on what you value, and what you're wanting to get out of whatever you're investing, whether you're investing your time or investing your money. But yeah, there's so many unknown variables and factors that I think it's scary with players who don't have the support like I do with my husband.
Right. If you could, this may relate to your most recent answers, but if you could give one piece of financial advice to a rookie and some similar advice to a fellow veteran, what do you think that would be?
Um, I think I mean, I'm no like financial guru, especially when it comes to money. Like, you know, my tactics is just save. But I think like just really trying to understand like who you are outside of a soccer player. Like, what else are you passionate about? What else do you feel like could turn into a career? Like, start thinking about that like early on and change that mindset of like, oh, it's a bad thing because I'm thinking of my backup plan. It's like, no, change it to like, oh, I'm being like proactive and taking charge of my career and what I want to do. Because I feel like a lot of people will, once they're done with their career, they have there's a sentiment of like, oh, what do I do now? But if you're thinking
Hmm.
of that early on and you're thinking of like, okay, like what other skills and talents do I have? Or can I practice my public speaking a little bit more by taking a few more of these appearances and seeing appearances as opportunities to learn and grow, not only like as a person but also for a potential job, and skill sets. I think that's the biggest piece of advice that I would give any player at any stage of their career.
Okay. Let's turn our attention to Leo now. There are obviously many personal and professional considerations before deciding to start a family. From the financial side, did anything change, or did your thinking evolve in any way in your own life that made you comfortable with the decision to expand your family?
Yeah. I just I feel like the protections around mothers, there's not so much like unknown around it. I think having that security with like the new CBAs, having being in a spot in my career where I my contract is supporting me enough, me and my husband enough, where we felt like we could welcome another life into our family. I think all of those decisions or all of those changes in our life made us feel more comfortable. I think if I had more job security earlier on in my career, we would have started our family a lot sooner. But there was a lot of unknowns around that, and you kind of the players that were having kids either had that financial stability to where they could either like soccer wasn't their main income, or they could pay for the help and support that they needed to continue to play soccer. I
Sure.
was never in that spot. Also, I had some friends and teammates who started their families or had kids and didn't have that support, so they had to stop playing. Also, some clubs were like, yeah, go have your family and then come back and we'll see. And some were like, we don't really want you to be a liability, like go away.
Hmm.
So that was kind of the conversation around players like starting their families. It was very taboo and you didn't really talk about it, no real support. And so I feel like the changes in the league, having that support, feeling more confident in that support, is kind of what it came down to for my husband and I. Like, okay, like we can do this, and it's still hard. So I have so much
Right.
respect for for
Right.
players that started their families without this support.
What steps did you and your husband take to prepare financially for the birth of your son?
Just saving. I think my husband, I am very fortunate to have him, and he helps us save all of our accounts, everything. Like he's really good at all that. Like, okay, put a little bit away here for this paycheck, this, that, whatever. So I think we also decided to move out to West Virginia and build a home last year. That was a huge step for us, is like kind of having that stability and having a home to
Yeah.
have to start a family. So that was a big step for us, is like, okay, let's find a place so that we can call home, that we can kind of like dig some deeper roots, and then we want to like welcome a child into a more like stable lifestyle. I think with my 9 years here at the Spirit, I haven't lived in a place for longer than 2 years,
Hmm.
just because training facilities move, markets. Like we were in Germantown, Maryland, and then we're now in like Leesburg, but the team apartments were in Ashburn, and then like Loudoun County is one of the most expensive counties, I think, in the
Yeah.
US. And so,
Right.
kind of like envisioning the life that we wanted to build for ourselves and for our family, and deciding, like, okay, where can we go to afford that? And that was just across the West Virginia border, where housing is a little bit cheaper.
Hmm.
We also wanted a lifestyle that wasn't so like hustle and bustle and busy. So we bought some land, have some space, and built a home. And then we're like, okay, like let's start to like try for our family now. And so that's kind of the vision that we had, and I feel very blessed that we're kind of like making it all happen.
I know it's only been a couple of months, but do you think about your money differently now that you have Leo?
Yes.
How
Very
so?
differently. Mostly just because I didn't realize how expensive diapers were, and how fast how fast he would be going through them, and thinking like, oh my gosh, he's going to be wearing diapers for the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, however long it takes him to get potty trained. But there's like little things like that of not like before having Leo, like all of our financial decisions directly impacted me and my husband.
Hmm.
But now we have another person to take care of, and all of our financial decisions will directly impact him as well. And as a parent, you want the best for your child. And so, kind of having that perspective when it comes to making financial decisions.
So given that Leo is now here, what would you say financial success looks like for you and your family in the future? What does that mean to
Um,
you?
for me, it's just being able to live a life where we can provide for him and like in a non-stressful way. I don't want to create a household or environment where it's like, sorry, Leo, I can't get you this because we're so tight on money.
Hmm.
But I also don't want to be like an overconsumer where it's like, Leo, buy whatever you want because money doesn't matter. I think it's somewhere kind of in the middle. I would like to just have good communication around finances. I grew up um, with like my dad very entrepreneurial as well and kind of like we didn't get paid for doing chores. Like it was like, no, that's kind of like your role and responsibility for being a part of this household. But if
Sure.
you want to make money, here are ways that you can do that. And so that's like I started running soccer camps. Like I always did lemonade stands, all that kind of stuff. Not
Hmm.
because I had to, but because like I wanted to like earn some extra money for myself so I could go buy whatever I wanted to buy. And I think that's kind of like the environment that I want to create for my family as well. I don't want it to be I don't want money to be a stressful topic, but I also want it to be something that we don't take for granted. So that's kind of what financial success looks like for me and my family. That's what I'm hoping that we can get.
All right. All right. Last question for fun. What are you most excited to buy for Leo? And what are you, maybe you already said it in the answer about diapers, but what are you not looking forward to spending money on in the months and years to come?
It's a good question. I probably can't wait to buy Leo. Hopefully he likes soccer, but like his first pair of cleats. I think that'll be really fun and a really fun moment. I know Jeff would probably say golf clubs because he likes golf, so we'll see what happens first. And then honestly, food. I think I eat a lot. My husband, we both eat a lot because we're very active. Um, and I've just heard boys and teenagers especially eat a lot. So like once he starts actually eating food or solids, I'm a little nervous of what that food bill is gonna look like.
Right, right. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you being so open with me, and we can't wait to see you back on the field.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. It was fun.